Hello and welcome to Catholic News Roundup. I'm Christine Niles. Today's May 22nd, 2025. Here are this week's top stories. Pro-lifers are rejoicing over one of Pope Leo's major appointments. On Monday, the Vatican announced Cardinal Baldassare Reina would head the John Paul II Institute for Marriage and Family, replacing the controversial Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia. Paglia was appointed by Pope Francis and proceeded to purge the institute of those theologically aligned with John Paul II in favor of a more liberalizing approach to homosexuality, birth control, and euthanasia. Paglia caused scandal when he commissioned homoerotic artwork by a homosexual painter in Paglia's former cathedral, featuring Christ pulling nets filled with naked transsexuals, homosexuals, and prostitutes. Paglia himself is featured among them. On Monday, Pope Leo also met with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, both Catholics.
Oh, that's wonderful. Which is right upstairs from here. I'm thrilled to see that. Thank you. For you. And then this is just a letter explaining the scholarship. I see. Great.
Great.
Goodbye. Thank you, and we'll pray for you.
Thank you for being here for the celebration.
Yes.
I'm sure we will meet again and be in contact.
Okay, fantastic.
Right.
Thank you.
Very nice to meet you.
Afterward, in a remarkable move, the Department of State, from its official X account, aired a video of Rubio witnessing to his Catholic faith.
The only institution that was around 2,000 years ago that's still around is the Catholic Church. I gave a speech at Catholic University in 2018 that was built on an encyclical by Pope Leo. So as a Roman Catholic, I believe that the Pope, the Bishop of Rome, is the inheritor of the power that was left to Peter by Jesus himself and has been passed down through the generations. No other human institution would have been able to survive the ups and downs the church has faced. What's kept it is that he's the rock, and upon that rock he built the church.
Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is also witnessing to his faith, leading a Christian prayer service in the Pentagon's auditorium during working hours, featuring Hegseth's pastor. And in education news, a Catholic college has canceled Father James Martin. TFP Student Action reports that after a petition signed by more than 11,000 people, Pennsylvania's Holy Family University disinvited the pro-LGBT Jesuit from its graduation. During a public rosary rally, school officials explained that he was gone.
He's not a speaker. He was never here.
He was announced as a speaker.
He was not. I didn't have the program if you don't believe me.
Well, that's great news. Yeah,
He's not anywhere around.
he's been sowing a lot of confusion among the church and among the faithful.
Nowhere mentioned. I don't know where you guys think he's here.
Well, it was online. It was on the website for a while. Yes.
Like I said, at one point I believed it was being considered and it was going to happen, but then they canceled it. Okay.
Amen.
All right.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed.
How are we going to proceed now? I mean, now that he's not here.
Blessed art thou.
Pray here a peaceful rosary
and Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
That wasn't clear.
Father Martin has been accused of pushing for the normalization of homosexuality and transgenderism, and he flaunted his blessing of a same-sex couple in a staged photo op published in the New York Times. In other campus news, the University of Notre Dame is under investigation. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita announced May 15th he's launching a probe into the school's DEI practices. In a letter to Notre Dame's president, Rokita asked about the university's 2033 strategic framework, which commits to so-called diversity and inclusion. Quote, in Indiana, what someone looks like, in a particular a person's race or the color of his skin, is not a lawful basis in which to make hiring, promotion, admissions, or other student or employment-related decisions. Once considered the nation's premier Catholic university, Notre Dame has been criticized for a loss of Catholic identity. President Trump wants to subsidize in vitro fertilization, and pro-lifers are pushing back. The White House is currently reviewing policy recommendations on how to expand IVF access, labeling it an essential health benefit that would force insurance companies to cover it. The move is similar to Obamacare's controversial contraception mandate, except it would apply to IVF. Ben Zeisloft of the Foundation to Abolish Abortion tweeted, "This is an absolutely terrible idea. For every baby born as a result of IVF, there are several others indefinitely frozen, selectively aborted, or simply tossed in the trash." Catholic philosopher Edward Fazer wrote, "Pro-lifers are going to be strongly tempted to rest content with a religious exemption to any Trump IVF mandate. This is a temptation to selfishness, which they must resist. The pro-life movement is not primarily about the rights of pro-lifers, but about the rights of the unborn." And Jenny Bradley Lichter, president of March for Life, said, "Life has value from the moment of conception, no matter the circumstances. We join our voices to those encouraging President Trump to keep this in mind as he engages in policy making regarding in vitro fertilization." IVF kills more unborn lives than abortion. The Catholic Church has always considered it morally unacceptable. And returning to Pope Leo, he continues to plead for the people of Gaza. In his general audience Wednesday, he said, "The situation in the Gaza Strip is increasingly worrying and painful. I renew my heartfelt appeal to allow the entry of dignified humanitarian aid and to put an end to the hostilities, the heart-rending price of which is being paid by children, the elderly, and the sick." He closed by chanting the Pater Noster.
Pater Noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum.
President Trump also voiced concerns for Gaza during his trip to Saudi Arabia.
Some very serious situations, and we're looking at Gaza, and we got to get that taken care of. A lot of people are starving. There's a lot of bad things going on.
Israel began its blockade of food and water on March 2nd, leading to a hunger crisis in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently said they'll start allowing minimal food and water into Gaza again. Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, is echoing the Pope's appeal, especially on behalf of Christians in Gaza, saying, "We must do everything possible to bring help." In December, after first being denied entry by Israel into Gaza, Pizzaballa was eventually allowed in and offered Mass at Holy Family Catholic Church. That's this week's Catholic News Roundup. Please visit stellamaris.media and sign up to our email list for the latest news and updates. Please help me to grow this channel by liking and sharing this content. Thank you so much for watching. May God bless your week. I'm Christine Niles.